Everybody want my swag, everybody want my drip.
Diamonds on the chain, blinging off my tits, nigga.
I'm the highest in the room.
Yeah. Everybody wanna be like me. Everybody wanna be like me.
100 bands, 100 bands, 100 bands. Contraband, contraband, contraband.
These hoes be dick riders and they gon' come out cause they let you fuck.
Fucking this bitch in the hills, I ain't even licking, she wet as an ill.
He ate my eye, he's a bottom feeder. Big D stand for big demeanor.
Bitches calling my phone like I'm locked up non-stop. From the plane to the fucking helicopter.
This is the shit that people listen to these days.
You know that like pop music, like I don't know when, but back in the day, probably even still now, they use actual like almost mathematic formulas for the pop tunes.
Yes.
Like, even
That's
if it's
why
winter, they would change it and like.
That's why like a bunch of the songs are written by the same people, so performed by different artists. But there's pretty much like 2 or 3 big players in the the game that just like.
Well, yeah, I think there's a lot of like pop artists don't even really write their own music. They actually have like. Music writers in the background that like write the songs and they just gotta perform.
Most of them are honestly just the image.
Because
then like
that's what they're selling lately. They're not selling the music.
But what about the lip syncing shit, man? I mean, like there's a lot of shit that goes on in like the pop world. Like
comes out with a flute, I think it was. And then the music fucks out, and like she's like, oh shit.
Yes. And you see, again, I think it's again that product that they're selling, and there's no more integrity. You know, it's like. It used to be you go out, you give your all, like some of the singers and stuff that we grew up with listening to, blew out their voices at a stage just because they were honestly overdoing it, but they like did it all for the sake of entertaining the fans and pretty much like they get put on a pedestal, so they're trying to deliver. Now they get put on a pedestal just because of how they look, and they're like, well, I don't really have to sing. I can just have a backtrack running. I don't really have to learn an instrument because I have people writing my songs for me, and it's like
do a bit of dance or something.
Well, I think Freddie Mercury once said something about like music will one day lose its soul or whatever.
Yeah,
I think it's totally true. Like,
I think we're totally there, man.
Yeah, like.
I think that
if it's so worked out, it's soulless, really, because I mean, all that shit comes from nowhere almost.
Yeah, it's pretty much mathematics and algorithms. It's like, oh, people like this, so let's just follow that algorithm. It's not like I'm putting a part of myself into this, or
there's like that one meme that floats around on the internet where it's like Justin Bieber lyrics that are written out, and it's just like that baby, ooh, like the whole way, just baby, and then they take like. A Megadeth song, and it's like brother will kill brother, and like it's like really like meaningful lyrics,
and you'll see like Dave Mustaine wrote that, and this guy like 5 writers, 8 producers, like
producers, fucking
and I mean, if you need that amount of people to make you sound like something, right? Like
that's not a musician.
That's not a musician. That's my biggest problem always between like a vocalist and a singer. Like, and people were like, but there's no difference between them. I'm like, no, a vocalist to me is somebody who can use his vocals in like a super unique way. He can, go from super high to super low. He can do pretty much acrobatics with his voice, right? A singer to me is like somebody who can mouth Baba Black Sheep. It's like there's no real fucking effort to it. You just pretty much go along with the song, or like, oh McDonald, that's singing, dude. And that's pretty much what we are like idolizing now. And then they call them like vocalists. It's like, no, dude, that guy is a singer. He literally sits there with his 4-chord song and just has like this range, and he just does, the thing that people, sing something catchy that people will catch on to.
Bro, you got like whatever, like fields of, I don't know, whatever.
Dude.
It's all the same.
Well, it's like the DJs, man. Like they fucking have their laptop and their little spinny thingy, and then they got like thousands of people in front of them. It's like, that's not a live fucking show, man.
No, they're not even doing shit. It's like the iPad, bro. Plug it in. Let's go.
You see, that's actually where I wanted to like make that's where I actually wanted to like make the split, because like it is kind of more a nowadays thing where it's become a glorified like playlist where they just play stuff, and the decks do most of the work for them. But then you look at like some of the early Tiesto type shows and whatever, dude, I would rate that guy a musician just as much as I would like Eric Clapton or Jimi Hendrix, because when you see what he does and like the amount of turntables and like weird stuff he has going on and different effects and stuff, it's pretty much like playing an instrument. But nowadays they like press play and then just hands in the air, like
at least like fucking old school stuff. Like, I mean, you look at bands like Wham and shit, like George Michael, he's part of Wham and that, and like all of those type of like pop dudes, even like Michael Jackson and shit like that. At least they had a band.
Yes.
They used to like pretty much write their own shit probably, and like actually go out and play concerts and tour and shit like that. So I don't have any issue with like
Like
people that
Elton
actually
John
put
or
in the
something.
like Elton John and shit, and like people that put in the effort. And like I heard a story about that Ed Sheeran dude, like where apparently. Obviously being from the UK or whatever, he decided he wanted to go to America because he thought that that's where he would be able to kickstart his career and like make it there. Where apparently like he went over there and he was like playing like local shows, and all he basically had was like his guitar, and then he would just go and sleep on like a park bench for the night so that he could then move on to the next show the next day and stuff. Like that's cool. Like I don't fucking dig Ed Sheeran for shit. Like, I mean, it's crap music.
But that's respect.
That's respect.
Exactly,
You know
exactly.
what I mean,
Because that at least shows you that you are willing to suffer for your craft, dude. It shows you like this isn't just a thing where I want to become famous for a stupid reason. I feel very strongly when it comes to like different terminologies in music. As a vocalist and singer, and it's the same with like a an artist. Like I don't feel that those people are artists. They don't create anything. Like if you are an artist in any sense, be it in the visual arts or you're like a sculptor or painter or whatever, it's like it's you doing that. So it's your talent. It's like your inner thing. Same with writing music. You're an artist because you're creating something from scratch. Those people literally just pitch up and then they say a couple of words, it gets pitch shifted, they don't even sing. Like, I don't even think they should be called artists, in my opinion.
Dude,
like,
I always think like this, okay, like, I'm not fully against like auto-tune and all that. It's like, it's probably got its place, but if you cannot sing in tune in the first place, you should not be there.
Definitely,
Straight up,
And that's also the thing. It's like it's now become kind of like a such a add-on, especially in like the rap game. Like I love rap music as well. Just world out there. If you see me in the ghetto, you better run. Just kidding, please don't shoot me. But but
I also
yeah,
think like old school like hip hop
yeah.
stuff and that. That's another genre that you could talk about like for ages where that's also gone to shit.
It's gone to shit, dude. Because like there used to be these one in a million type stories. You have your Biggie, your Pacs, and people like growing up in really bad, having
there was
bad
like real
childhoods
gangsterism shit.
Definitely, man. And they battled their whole day or they all have to get out of that, and then it's a success story, and then they sing about the cars and stuff that they have, but the struggles that they had to get that. And then they just took like a little part of that, the new rappers, and they're like, oh, this guy sings about cars, money, and hoes, and
because we had none of the struggle,
so I'm gonna sing about that, but there's no talk of a struggle. That guy probably like went to college, like, and just decided to like rep the Bloods and whatever, and make a career out of that. And it's gone to shit. And also again with the voices, like it used to be that each voice was super unique, man. As much as like I listen to metal and you play it to the untrained ear maybe, and they'll be like, I don't know who that is. You can see when it's like Deicide or Cannibal Corpse, or when it's like Cradle of Filth. Everybody has like their own identity in their voice. Same with that, man.
Well, same with like NWA. I mean, there was like a whole bunch of them, and each time somebody rapped, you knew who it was.
Yeah, you were like, dude, there we go, that's easy. And that kind of died out when like now you just have like a bunch of guys putting Lil in front of whatever the fuck. I think the last time I checked there was 5,000 Lils on the streaming platforms, dude. So like Lil Pump and Lil, you guys fucking Lil suck, dick. The only Lil I can still fucking take to a certain degree is Lil Wayne. Like that homie still like.
And that's even pushing it.
Yeah, he was in the beginning stages of the whole like auto-tuning thing, and I could still let it slide, but lately it's like there's no uniqueness to it. Everybody just gets auto-tuned to the fucking max.
But nowadays it's because everyone's trying to be their idol or whatever. And until usually you check if a musician spends a certain amount of time, like years, you reach your own style, and then it's like, cool, doesn't matter what other people do, I found what I do.
Definitely, you're comfortable in your own style. Like, you kind of develop it, taking bits and pieces of your idols, but then you put it all together and it becomes like a part of you, and it's your own style, because it's like not just derivative of like Hendrix or whatever. Like, you take those influences, but you make it your own. Like, where these guys, they're carbon copies. Like, I mean, let's face it, they're like,
and it's every genre.
But also like rap being like formulated, as you were saying with the pop, where even rap has become formulated. Put some auto tune on there. We need you guys to have grills and like pretty much just throw it in everybody's face how much money you have, and like show off your diamonds and stuff at each chance, and pretty much sing down to your audience. And because that's what's happening. It's not the thing of the struggle anymore. Now it's like, I have all of this, you don't. And it's like,
check my fucking watch and shit.
I mean, I suppose it's like growing up with like metal and stuff, and then like obviously South Africa has always been a very sort of like conservative type of country. So like metal was, and I suppose it used to happen all over the world where metal was like taboo. And it's like
the
evil,
freedom kind of.
yeah. And it had like these like stereotypes, you know, it's evil, it's satanic, and all that crap.
Definitely.
And like, you know, if you listen to it, you'll murder people and shit like that. But then you look at the crap that's on the main platforms today, like what they, like, I mean, there's like young girls that are performing like with fucking dildos and shit, and like that's okay for your kid to watch, but you can't watch like a
true musicians,
like that just has a bit of corpse paint on, or fucking like, you know, does something weird on stage.
Break it down to like the things that they're talking about. Like I've always thought to myself, it's very hypocritical of most of those people, and to talk about shit like that. When you look in schools, they do Hamlet, they do Shakespeare, and all of that has like a life and death type of, you know, thing to it, and you know, they see that as great storytelling. Now you have a death metal thing and they sing about death, and all of a sudden it's like, no, this must be a part of the occult. But then again, you listen to like songs like WAP and shit, and it's like, probably they would be like, oh, what a like role model to girls, you know, like look, female empowerment. But it's like, so that's chill. But if I do like something that pretty much Shakespeare did, you know, and pretty much in the same sphere of like storytelling and then making the ends of it like super brutal, you know, now
that's a kind of this age old kind of like it's almost like inherent human nature to be. You have to go through the darkness to get through the light, you know? Yeah. Kind of thing, like the enlightenment. Like it's not shallow, it's super deep. You have to
Yeah, I think actually you hit a good point there. Where like I think people overall are very shallow, and that's the thing is like when you sing about shallow stuff, anybody can imagine themselves like wishing they had a Lambo or like wishing they had a Rolex or whatever. So now you have this guy telling you he has all of that and he has all these girls. So you kind of live vicariously through him. So I can kind of see the appeal, but it's a very shallow kind of like fan base, you know, because it's like, so you're telling me if that guy didn't have all of that, he would be nothing to you, because like that's what you base like value on now, is like how many cars do you have, how many chains do you have, and it used to be back in the day, it's like, man, I want to see the underdog win, I want to see this guy lift himself out of the ghetto, get out of the dope slanging game, and actually just like entertain a bunch of people, you know, like.
Think like this, if you check the like the heavy black metal stuff, right?
Yeah.
Those dudes and the kind of like occult stuff they're into, whatever, regardless if it's good or bad or light or dark, whatever, it's the journey is of self-enlightenment. Yeah. You know, it's like that's the whole goal of it, kind of.
Definitely. And also it's like, I think you go and search out stuff you're looking for. So like, I think that's again a testament to the type of people of today. Like people want them to just like spoon feed them stuff. Like I mean, if you look at Taylor Swift, like sorry Tay-Tay fans, but
Tay-Tay.
Yeah, but old Tay-Tay, most of the songs are about breakups, and I'm starting to wonder when she's going to realize that she must be the problem, because you know, although her songs might beg to differ, like by the 18th one you must realize you're the problem, baby girl. So you know, but people want that because it's easy to relate to, but people won't relate to stuff like occultism and stuff because they in such a rat race of an existence. I don't think stuff like that bothers them. Yeah, like people like us, you know, you kind of have that, and you know, there's something we talked about a bit about like religion and stuff, where all of our views are a bit different or whatever, but we've been through a journey to get to where we are at, where the rest of the people kind of just want to be spoon-fed. It's like
whatever that inner drive is.
Yeah,
you know?
They're like, oh, I'll just have the same religion as my parents because that's the easiest to have. You know, I'll just listen to all the songs that everybody else listens to because it must be relatable. They don't go on a journey thinking to themselves like, man, I want somebody who can like.
And even when you start listening to metal, I know a lot of people actually idled a bit with the black metal, because like some of the dudes are full on kind of like trying to be evil or whatever, or satanic, and then you've got this gripping thing inside you, you know, you're like, oh yeah, are you on the wrong path, you know, whatever.
Definitely.
I think with bands like black metal bands, and I suppose a lot of like death metal bands and shit, there is that type of like stereotype thing around them. So like when if you're playing a black metal band, you kind of have to look badass and come across as like the evil black metal dude. You know, you got to have the corpse paint and all that stuff. But that kind of goes with the black metal image. You know, it's a case of like, you know, do you rock up at a show and you're already fucking corpsed up, or like do you know, and like do you just spend the day like that, or do you only do that like for your stage performance and things like that? But I think in some cases, like I think like, you know, imagine being like a band like us that would just wear our fucking jeans and our shorts and our shit, and then we just start playing this black metal. You know, like there's no image attached to it.
I love
you know
that.
What I mean?
Also, you know, it's such a like, I would love it to be pure raw. No images, just
hitting the music.
But again, 100%. I think it comes down to that, where it's like where everybody's trying to diversify and create their own genres and stuff. Like if you go and look at the pillars, you know, where the genres and stuff started. Again, it just falls into that like this is how we used to like know if it's that. Like in black metal, one of the things was like the corpse paint. It's kind of like a uniform where like
for a lot of people also, I would say this. It's not even. I mean, I love doing it, and because you kind of. If say you're a bit introverted or something, that is like you can be whoever or whatever you want. This is like an entity, you becoming whatever. Yeah. But also a lot of the people in the crowd are actually like, you know, they're like, fuck, is this dude for real? Or like, they get that feeling, and that's.
And you know what? I think that's kind of selling it to the next degree, and like you know,
you are performing. You're doing something.
Well, it's a part of the art, isn't it? Like one part of the art is the actual music, like, and then the other part of the art is like, are you a performer? Are you an entertainer?
Yes.
So like, you know, you're not gonna go watch a band and like, you know, you could be like, yeah, the music's cool and stuff, but did they entertain me? And I think that like a lot of that's been lost. I mean, you look at. Like again, going back, like bands would be entertaining to watch. You know, you go like if you had to watch Queen, like Freddie Mercury was entertaining. You know,
definitely.
So I think again, like watching. I mean, I've seen Nebula and that, and I mean, it is entertaining because you watch, you're like, these guys look like the real fucking deal.
And you get swept into that, dude.
So you gotta also think like your audio and your visual. I mean, you put on a show. You think with a local scene, like you're gonna be playing like these small little shitty places, probably to the same 5 fucking people. But what's the wow factor where those 5 people are gonna be like. Yo, have you seen that fucking band live? You see what they do live. They do this and this and this, and then
even
people
just
start
one
like,
person, you're like, it was worth it, kind of, you know.
Definitely, and it's that escapism, I think, to the whole thing. It's like pretty much like going to watch a movie, or if you go and watch a horror movie, you go there to be scared. So with black metal being kind of like the horror genre of like the metal scene, it's kind of like, well, I can tell you about Satan and sing about him and tell you about rituals and all sorts of weird shit, but unless I show it to you, you're not going to believe it. So they come to the show wanting to kind of leave there feeling freaked out, just like if you were to go to a cinema and go watch like Friday the 13th.
Dude, if you check Lord of the Rings, right?
Yeah.
That movie would suck without the dark element. You know, like Sauron and all the orcs. You do the same kind of thing. It's like that. You're just there's an entity you just created or something.
Definitely.
You know that people are like, oh, that's.
And I see that as a good counterbalance because, like, I mean, if you take like Hillsong, and I mean, they have so many incarnations in every tax-exempt country. You know, where you check them and it's like all they're doing is riling up people by like the notes that they play and the type of things that they do. So they'll play a lot of like happy chords and like keep it slow and have like these choir singing, and before you know it, like emotionally it moves you and you have these people like dancing in your ear and like super moved. So the counter opposite to that, I kind of feel is like, well, if that makes you feel moved and you feel great afterwards, I want to leave you being like, what the fuck did I just watch?
And I want to feel that adrenaline.
Exactly, dude. So you use different notes. You know, you go to the complete opposite side, and I think that's what makes black metal such an artistic, like, you know, free for all. Where it's just like, you know, how dark can you go? How much can you like?
It is such an underground thing. It's not like you're trying to be mainstream or anything. It's like you're not gonna really get.
No, not at all.
It's pure like love, like when
definitely.
You know?
And also,
I think it's quite a small niche type of following.
Very niche, right?
That's the thing. It's like a niche thing.
And because I think for me, always like black metal had that spiritual element that like a lot of people go, and it's so deep and like so interesting, and you know.
But also, what happened to like fucking having balls in music? Like, you know, we had the Nirvanas, you know, we had the Panteras. You know, and all that type of stuff, you know,
that
like
attitude,
that whole attitude, like you know, where you know, like like a lot of punk was all like anti-government and like you know, all that fuck society stuff like that, you know, saying it like how it is. I mean, Marilyn Manson, I mean, that guy was like that new level where like, you know, it's like, what the fuck am I watching, you know?
Definitely.
Like saying it how it is and stuff like that. Like there's none of that anymore.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
But also I think even the metal scene, they would never like admit it because we like to think that, oh no, we underground and blah blah blah. But I think we also fall into some of the same traps as the pop artists just in the metal genre, where it's like, okay, well, this is kind of formulated. People like this type of riffage. Let's play this type of riffage. Cool. Thrash bands, let's say, for example, they always wear battle jackets. Let's just get on the battle jacket train instead of being like, you know, just yourself, because that's why Nirvana and bands like that blew up as much as they did, because they weren't trying to do anything. They weren't like, I'm gonna make a stud bracelet look cool. He was just dressing like he dressed every day, and it started like you know, infecting other people, and other people caught on from him. He wasn't trying to put himself in a box and be like, I'm gonna be thrash, I'm gonna dress this way, I'm gonna be death, I'm gonna dress this way.
Supposedly he wanted to play speed metal, but he couldn't.
Yes.
So like, interesting.
That is crazy.
And then kind of invented grunge.
Yeah. You know.
And that's the thing, man. Like,
obviously, also grunge came because of like the rock saturated itself.
Yes, it became
as cool as rock is. It just all sound the same.
And again, it's that thing of like, if you want to see what's gonna happen, look back in the past because history has a tendency to repeat itself. And I think we're on the cusp of people just getting gutful of the music. Okay, sorry for those of you who don't know what gutful is. Sick, tired, over it. So pretty much, yeah, I think we're getting to that point because everything has become so generic and so just watered down that the next Nirvana could be around the corner. The only thing is, I don't know how it'll work this time around because with them, it was a thing of, pre like really internet marketing, still CD sales and stuff like that. And what happened was, again, it was a scene that helped each other. So Seattle with them and, Pearl Jam and all these bands from there, they kind of built a scene of their own and just did their own thing. And then it started to spread from there. Now with the internet, I don't see how you're gonna get it to spread because now you're running on algorithms. You're not running on word of mouth. It's not like, dude, here's a CD you need to check out like it was back in the day. And before we know it, we have 5 friends who listen to the same band. Now it's like send a link. Oh, maybe I'll listen to it. Maybe not.
I'm the worst there. When people send me links, I never fucking check them.
So I think there needs to be another band like that.
Whatever you're marketing is against these high-level promoters of all the most famous stuff.
Exactly.
And you can think how.
And that's the problem as well, is like it comes down, I think, to how much cash you dump into it. It used to be about talent, it would be like all of these guys going out every night watching gigs and pubs and clubs and trying to find the next big thing, because that was their job. Now those people's jobs are kind of ultimate because the bands do the promoting and stuff, but now you have these conglomerates and big companies that just like push into advertising on Facebook, push it into YouTube and everything, and they get to the top of the pile. So, you don't really have this thing like Nirvana just doing their own thing and people pay attention to it. Now you have people just throwing it in your face, being like, look at this, look at this, look at this, look at this, until they become famous, and I don't know. I think that whole thing needs to change. I don't think like we'll ever have a proper music scene unless that changes, but how, that's the other question. Like,
it's kind of weird also. I mean, when the grunge came around, obviously a lot of people wanted that.
Yeah.
But then to me, it's like, that music was pretty depressing.
Yeah.
I'm like, why do you want to feel like that?
I think if you take it from whence it came, like I watched this thing the other day about like the 2000s approaching and how many people were like really into that doomsday kind of thing and was worrying about like, going into the new century. Like there was, I would say,
like a whole consciousness thing.
Yeah, definitely.
Y2K thing.
Yeah. And now you see like the herd consciousness when it comes to like COVID, for example. I mean, you know what I mean? It's a perfect example of like how you put people in their houses and they have to deal with some of their own shit and they, not living their everyday lives, and how depressed some people were this year. Like
suicides and shit.
Yeah, like I said this year, but like 2020, it's not getting better into 2021 thus far. But I mean, people are cooped up and they, don't know how to deal with themselves because they've never had to.
Dude, it's not right for a human. It's against human nature.
Yeah. And the only way you have to connect again is like through these social media platforms that give you that vague veneer of like, that's why we are here, to connect you to your people. But it's like, every notification I'm seeing is for something you want me to buy. And then I see notifications I don't give a fuck about of people I haven't spoken to in 5 years. I really don't care what's happening in his life. And it's like, what are you actually doing? It's like not connecting us. It's actually driving us.
And shit.
Yeah, driving us apart because
it's mad.
Oh, but a lot of it is the division. That's the agenda. That the whole divide and conquer.
Yeah, I mean, if I had to ask you guys a question, for example, when was the last time you had a conversation with somebody over Facebook Messenger? Yeah, you see, like it doesn't come to mind. It's like it's there to connect you and to be able to see other people and what you're missing out in their lives. Even now in this pandemic, we were so forced apart from each other. We'd rather sit there and scroll through your newsfeed, see the same thing 3 times, than actually go to your contacts and be like, let's have a discussion. And that's one of the main reasons I wanted to get this podcast up and running, is because like when I have chats to you guys, man, it's like the whole rest of the world can just like go fuck itself, because it's like that, intimate sharing of knowledge and just like talking stuff out and getting different perspectives on it, where we're so used to just sitting in our own minds, having our own ideas on something, having ads and everything tailor-made to that, and just reinforcing in our minds, this is you, and as soon as you hear a different opinion, like fuck that, Republicans fuck the liberals and the liberals fuck the Democrats, it's like just they're trying to mold you into the person they want you to be, instead of like having open chats about it.
I want to think of this, so we see all the division and shit between like humans. Now what happens now when the aliens come or whatever? Now we,
exactly. totally
thought then.
Yeah, totally divided. And now if you have to stand together as a species, it's like it will never happen. But
plus, imagine the panic, like.
That's why they don't want to release it supposedly.
People like they panic. So like, I mean, can you imagine if like the US or whoever all the government powers that be, they know about all of this like alien shit, and all of a sudden one day they're like, oh, anyway, so like we'll just let you guys know that like this year is fucking. E.T.'s fucking cousin, and like, he's been living on Earth for a couple of fucking years, and everyone's like, what?
Yeah.
Panic's fucking all over the place.
In 6 months, they there's some like law or something, or I don't know, not law, but they like.
I saw that.
Have to release some documents.
There was like a bill. Yeah, there was like a bill passed, and I took another correction, but it was something to do with COVID. But it had like a
COVID laws.
Yeah, and the COVID bill, but they snuck that like legislation into it, where it's like a disclosure type thing, where they have to say if there is aliens or like not.
You know that bill? Supposedly it was over 5,000 pages, and they gave it to them like the afternoon or whatever, and like the later that day they had to sign it.
Yes, that's crazy. And that to me is one of the worst fucking things, is like when you think of how many people have control over your lives, and corporations, like your Facebooks and stuff, and in your governments. It's like 5,000 pages that have a direct impact on your life. Because I mean, if there's something in there that is detrimental to you, they sign it. Like they have to like pretty much fulfill whatever they said. And okay, cool, you have a couple of hours to decide on everybody's lives. It's like, man, how are we running the world like that? How are we putting things to chance like that? It's like, that shouldn't be legal.
No, it shouldn't be, right?
Yeah, somebody should hold them accountable and be like, no, dude, you can't make a decision like that over like your cup of tea in the afternoon, 5,000 page document.
Pages, bro.
Yo, no, it's crazy.
And now you think, what the fuck's in there? How many amendments and like sketchy loopholes and shit? That's how they get stuff passed,
And that's the craziest thing, is how fast they can pass stuff lately. I mean, like they can make world-changing decisions within a matter of like minutes. I mean,
And the funny thing, a lot of these laws, I know, so like the PC stuff.
Yeah.
Most people do not agree with it, but these are passed into legislation.
3,000 and 60,000. Between 7 to 800. 769, 800 and 700.